Howdy, everybody, and welcome to the Friday edition of Moohead Radio. I'm your host, Mr. Moohead, and joining me in the studio is Mr. Moose himself. That would be Bronk in merry old England.
Moose.
And I hope everybody is doing well this Friday. And this show is going to begin with a rant of epic proportions. So
it's not going to be by me either.
For those people who are interested in hearing about the Cavaliers opener and the Browns pregame, give me, if you're watching this on an archive, you can slide it ahead 10 minutes or so, 12 minutes, because what I have to say has to be said, and I can't keep doing this program without getting this off my chest. All right.
Well, you know what Shrek says, better out than in. So I'll just mute my mic and you can go on.
All right. Here we go. All right. And you see the theme of the show, partial theme of the show. And then there's this. All right. We're living right now in a society where if I hear the word winning one more time in a context of the consumer is winning, the country is winning, my political party is winning. If I hear the word winning one more time, I'm going to get a gun and shoot somebody. I'm sick and tired of this winning at all cost bullshit and what it has cost the American culture. And I'm going to tie it into sports. I'm not going to go politically because both sides are corrupt as fuck politically. And I don't want to get into that. And I don't ask for it on my timeline. I just get fed that shit and I don't appreciate it. Here's the deal about winning. Back in the day, and of course I'm 68 years old, and you'd know that I go back a little bit in time. That there is the thrill of just not knowing who is going to win and the excitement of watching something that was unanticipated happening. And there was an adrenaline rush that came from winning. And if you weren't an athlete yourself, you could at least relate to how the people were feeling on the field when you were going ballistic at home watching it on television. And that was then. And now we have given winning an entire new definition. And the idea of winning is, if you're a sports fan, is gambling and winning. I won money. Diseased fuckers. The country is full of diseased fuckers. And what I'll tell you is this. The games go on whether you gamble or not, and you have nothing to do with the outcome, and winning is not what it's about. You're gambling because you might get a visceral rush from it, but I guarantee you, the majority of the time, you're not winning. And this is just spilled over into the headlines today. And if you're following the story of the NBA players, former coach, who have been indicted in essence as part of a whole insider information / gambling issue. The first one involves NBA, the people betting on NBA games. Using insider information, if you can believe this. Really? Is there such a thing as inside information? Are you telling me that those people that get all that money in the stock market are doing it because they're just smarter than I am?
Yeah, of course they are. Absolutely. I can vouch for that.
Right. Well, and the second involves rigging high-stakes mafia associated poker games. They were targeting high rollers after enticing them to play with former NBA players, and that included our own Damon Jones and Chauncey Billups, whose name I was shocked to see come up in all of this. All right. Brian Windhurst chimed in on this, saying that NBA players have taken themselves out of games, allegedly to win under prop bets, and that people with inside knowledge have leaked information about player availability before it was made public. That's what this is all about.
Correct.
So here's the deal, sports fans. You want to gamble and get your little piece of the action? Well, you're fucked. You're at the bottom of the ladder as always. You look up and somebody's spreading their ass cheeks and shitting all over you. You're losing all of your money while other people have an inside track and inside information. That's what the case is in the two NBA cases and the players involved. It's ridiculous. Their filings from 2022 and 2024 that there were a group of co-conspirators. They placed bets on at least 7 NBA games using non-public information. Those games involved the Charlotte Hornets, the Orlando Magic, the Trailblazers, the Lakers, and Toronto Raptors. And of course, everybody wanted to know, is LeBron playing or not? Every gambler wanted to know, because if LeBron wasn't going to play, the Lakers weren't going to win.
Oh, bets are off.
Yeah, exactly. So, and they don't want to limit the amount of gambling. They want to increase it. So,
the more money that's in the pot, the better for everyone.
Rozier, the guy who was playing for the Miami Heat, is accused of sharing inside information, removing himself early from at least one game for the benefit of gamblers.
Oh, my knee.
Exactly.
My knee.
And profiting from those bets, according to the indictment. All right.
Oh.
Now, Damon Jones, the greatest shooter who ever lived, but he was talking dice, not basketball.
He's got loads of rings, though. He's got like 4 championship rings or something. Yeah,
exactly. Right? Jones, who was an unofficial part of Darvin Ham's Lakers coaching staff in 2022-2023, allegedly sold inside information about the player availability to bettors. Although Billups is not named in the sports betting indictment, it describes a co-conspirator whose playing and coaching career matches identically. That co-conspirator allegedly told a bettor that the Trailblazers were tanking and that several players would miss a March 2023 game.
Oh, there you go.
The thing that is sad about all of it is it's not just the NBA.
Oh yeah, go. I'll chime in when you want.
Yeah, I watch games for entertainment value. Okay, there is no winner and loser to me. And I'll talk about the Cavs, opener in a few minutes. I don't have a preference, except I'm a fan of the team and I want the Cavaliers to win. I want the Browns to win. And, I want the Guardians to win. But other than that, I'm not going to sit there and make excuses for organizations either. And I'm not part of the gravy train that involves things like I'm talking about here. 24 years I've been doing this shit. I may be wrong, but I'm not a whore. I never sold out to offshore gambling interests that tried. When I started this program 24 years ago, I was early on the curve, and they saw, there's a good thing coming. Maybe we can get on board. We can get all these guys early. And then when the bigger guys come in, we'll get them. And then we'll dump the little guys, and the hell with it. And I said, no, I'm not interested in that. Not interested at all. You'll never hear me say, and let's take a look at the predictions for the game, and here are the point spreads. You're never going to hear me say that. You're never going to hear me say, here's the players that you should play on your parlay for the guys who are going to do the best this week. You're never going to hear that shit. But when I watch television and every pregame and postgame show, there it is.
It's all in the advertising breaks too, man. Jesus, like how many points are the Cavs going to score in the third quarter? Why? I hope a lot.
So anyway. Right off the bat, you have to question the integrity of the NBA, because I've been watching it a long time, and there's a reason why when you play the Knicks, if you so much as blink in front of Jalen Brunson, he gets a foul call. Now, I'm not going to tell you that the Cavaliers deserve to win that game, because they stunk. They stunk. But I'll tell you this, it's great for a guy like Jalen Brunson to go 5 of 14 from the goddamn field and still get 14 free throws. Isn't that great?
Yep.
He'll get his fucking points one way or another. And it's because they're from New York and there's more gambling on New York sports teams. And that's the way it works. It's the way it'll always work. There's no integrity in the game whatsoever. You know why I watch? It's like, wow, how did Donovan Mitchell do that? That was an incredible shot. That's why I watch. What a pass that was. Wow. Can you believe last year Ty Jerome doing this? I mean, that's why I watch. It's that wow factor, you know?
Yeah, and it's athleticism. It's athleticism that you'll never see in any other sport. I'm sorry, but the NBA basketball has the best athletes in the world in it.
And I could watch the Browns play every week when Nick Chubb was playing for him because it was like, wow, what is he going to do? What is he going to do this week in a losing cause? But what is he going to do? Because it's exciting. It was like LeBron James. It was like primetime television. You had to watch it. And you say, oh, my God, just when you thought you've seen the last thing that he could do, he runs down the court at over 20 miles an hour and blocks a shot in the finals, game 7 against the Warriors before he pins it basically against the backboard without goaltending. And it was a legitimate block. And you're like, holy shit, I would have expected some amazing shot, but where in the hell did this come from?
Yeah, and it was Andre Iguodala, man, one of the biggest guys in the league, man, that he took down. It wasn't some little guy.
And, you know, I just say that's why I watch. That's the excitement. It isn't like, oh, come on, score one more basket and I'm win my parlay. You know, fuck that shit. I don't give a shit about that. I don't even think about that. And if you are, you're a gambling disease person. You're not a sports fan. And you'll never get this program. You'll never understand it. You'll never watch it because I'm never going to give you any hints about your gambling disease, except to tell you to stop it. Funnel that money. Find interest forms and send your children to college. Do what you can for your family. But this is stupid. This is just stupid. And this, in the end, it's not just basketball. That's just what's in the headlines right this moment.
Correct.
Did you hear about what's going on with the New York Giants football team?
No, I don't know what's going on.
For God's sakes.
Football Giants.
All right. You know, I called out Brian Daboll, which I've done for years. You know,
that's been a staple on the program for like 15 years now.
Yeah. And, you know, here he is, and he managed to blow a lead that 1,602 games nobody had ever been able to do
done before.
Yeah, we went through this in the last program. Well, it turns out in the game that Jackson Dart, his rookie quarterback, got hammered on a play and grabbed his head. And the second he grabbed his head, they had to send him to the blue tent. All right.
Oh, no, not the blue tent.
Well, the blue tent is there so that you get. But let me explain what the rules are. You get an examination that's an independent examination.
Okay.
All right. To determine whether a player can continue or whether he goes into the protocol.
Yes, a scientific, unbiased examination inside the blue tent.
And like we're to believe that
with the game or gambling.
NFL doesn't pay the guy doing that. Hell no. Yeah, right. In this case, Brian Daboll, when they determined that Jackson Dart was holding his head because he got crushed and they brought him into the blue tent, Brian Daboll went and ran over to the blue tent with Scatabo, his running back, and they entered the blue tent, and who knows what happened in there. And afterwards, he was asked what they were doing in there. Well, it turned out he wasn't supposed to be in there because he's not supposed to sway anybody because it's an independent review. And it turned out that Jackson Dart, it turned out that it wasn't a big deal, except he was doing something that he shouldn't have been doing. This is where the story gets really weird. The next day, the NFL comes out and they're looking at that situation. And the Giants, Dayball, and Scatabo have all been fined stemming from violations of the concussion protocol surrounding the evaluation of Jackson Dart. The Giants were assessed a $200,000 fine, Dayball $100,000, and Scatabo $15,000 for conduct detrimental to the league.
Wow.
All right. Dayball, for his part, while the guy was his quarterback was in the blue tent, was later seen talking in an animated fashion to the team physician, Dr. Scott Rodeo, on the sideline while awaiting word on whether Dart would be cleared to return to the game. Here is Dayball's explanation. Like, if you're going to have an explanation, you've had a little time to think about it, it's got to be better than this. Dayball said he wanted to find out if Dart was okay and decide whether to call timeout and potentially go for it on 4th down if he was available. This is a guy who was a former offensive coordinator. You're trying to tell me if your rookie quarterback is in the blue tent and he may very well have a concussion, that you're creating this ruckus to buy yourself time to see whether you should go for it on 4th and 1 or not? I mean,
that's some value system there, isn't it?
Unbelievable. I mean, it's like instant reason for being fired, terminated, but it isn't just him. All right. The league fines them, fines the team, fines and Scatabo as well. You're not going to believe this. The league and players union said in a joint statement that Dayball and Scatabo entering the tent created, quote, a perception that they were interfering with Dart's exam. Even though they concluded neither had an impact on the exam, their conduct was inconsistent with and demonstrated a disregard for the concussion protocol's requirements, and therefore constituted a violation. Now, let me go back to the NFL. They're handing out fines and they're enriching themselves and their owners with the fine jackpot, that grows as the season progresses. The NFL, in all of its glory, the same organization that denied that CTE even existed.
Correct.
The same organization that tried to get us to believe that a certain kind of goofy shaped helmet would save players for the problems of those until JOK decided to wear one and his career is likely over. The people who refuse to acknowledge that the game that they're making billions of dollars from is a danger, a health hazard, and should be banned the way it's being played. And they're worried about conduct that was inconsistent and a perception. These people are so far above things in their mind. What is the perception of the NFL? I've watched games where field goals went through the goalposts, were called no good, were called good when they were no good. I've watched while referees made calls and then stopped frozen like they were hit with a laser beam. And all of a sudden, it's like, this play is under review. And invisible voices in their headset that we will never hear tell them to reverse the call. How many times have you seen that before?
More than I'd care to.
What about that perception? What about the whole NFL perception, the NBA's perception of what fouls get called for what players, what teams go to the free throw line more often? What about those perceptions? And Major League Baseball, what about umpires who decide the outcomes of World Series like the Braves against the Indians by giving pitchers literally 6 inches of leeway on one team and not on the other? Balls or strikes. Strikes or balls, depending on which team you're playing for. What about the perception of that? What about the perception that, okay, we're going to give you 2 pitches now in Major League Baseball next year that you can contest if you disagree with? What about the other gazillion pitches in the game that they get wrong? That's not going to stop them from cheating for somebody and pocketing money. What about that perception? I just want sports to be entertaining and fun. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. And what we have is a shit show. And it's unfortunate. Now, with that all said, I'm going to start talking about the Cavaliers opener. Again, I may be wrong, but I'm not a whore. All right?
Well,
I wanted the Cavaliers to win, of course. And I knew playing in New York was going to be tough, especially without Darius Garland. And you can go on the list of who we don't have without DeAndre Hunter. You know, without Max Strus.
Yep.
And it turns out without Jared Allen.
Oh, God.
What about that perception?
Wow. He was missing, wasn't he?
What about that perception? Isn't there a point in time in which you start questioning other players who just disappear for no apparent reason? I would be getting rid of Jared Allen if I were the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's bad fucking news. Nice guy. Loves his comic books, loves his stuff, you know. He's a real nice guy. But if he's honest and he's doing this, he's not fit to play because he's not prepared and ready to play emotionally. He says before the game to the referee, are the lights actually brighter in here than they're supposed to be? And then he proceeds to score 4 points in 28 minutes and get like 2 rebounds or four rebounds. And to me, it's just, you want to know how bad it is?
He was like Casper the Friendly Ghost out there, man.
Invisible. Even Kenny Atkinson had something to say.
Oh, I haven't heard this. What did he say?
That wasn't the Jared Allen we all know, and I would take exception. That's the Jared Allen.
We've seen that before.
Everybody has seen. Right?
I've seen that before, and I live in England, and the games are on really late.
And first he said that was more on us, not seeking him out. But conversely, he can't get 4 rebounds. I was really bummed out about that. Can't be like that. He's a great pick and roll player, Atkinson said of Allen. I told the guys today he had the best field goal percentage in the league. He is our rim thrust. He is our tight end over the middle. If we're not piercing that defense with the thrust to the rim, that's not good. We have to get to the rim. Now, that came up in conversation because the Cavaliers were chucking up shots from three-point land, and it was pathetic. Even Lonzo Ball can't throw a pebble into the ocean, for Christ's sake, and he's tossing up threes. The only guy who was doing anything from 3 would have been, Merrill.
Yeah, Sam Merrill got a few, and I think Ball had.
And Mobley made some threes, but he was making other ridiculous shots and ridiculous playing out of control. Here's what I want to say about the Cavaliers based on what I saw for just one whole game. And they're not going to be that bad all season. But take a look at the roster. DeAndre Hunter didn't play.
Correct.
If he did play, he would have gotten shots up and points in. I can guarantee you that because he's a good offensive player. And he's 100%. Also a better defensive player than what was on the floor. That would be Jalen Tyson, who shouldn't even be in the NBA.
Oh, look, I got a rant about all that.
I mean, why him? I have no idea. He's the appointed one. He's the coach's pet. I have no idea. But Jalen Tyson is not an NBA player. He's not tall enough. He's not strong enough. Can't shoot. And he's not a good defender. And you know what was incredible about it? Even, again, I was watching what Atkinson after the game said, during the film sessions after the game, he pointed out that the Cavs' incredible efficiency metrics on plays when Allen gets the ball in the pocket weren't there. and because Darius Garland and Max Strus weren't on the floor. And those were the two guys who gave him the most assists last season.
Yep.
Right. So
no one gives him the ball.
We didn't throw him the ball, Atkinson said. He's there. When you stop giving your fullback the ball in the running game, he's going to stop blocking for you. Now, wait a minute.
Whoa.
Whoa, wait a minute here. You're telling me if he doesn't get the fucking ball,
he stops playing.
and he doesn't rebound? For God's sakes.
Well, he could be a coach's favorite because they were together with the Brooklyn Nets, but yeah, I was like, I was missing. I'll tell you who I was missing. You're gonna cringe at this, but I was wishing we had Karis LeVert and George Niang still, because at least we had people that tried to sort of play defense. They couldn't do it very well, but at least they got the odd steals, and there was no defense in that game whatsoever. Donovan Mitchell wasn't playing defense. Jalen Tyson got absolutely skewered by Clyde Frazier, because I was watching the MSG feed that has Clyde Frazier on it doing his rhyming, babble that he does. And he said at one point where Tyson made this egregious foul that, I'm paraphrasing here, that Tyson's not showing a lot of aptitude here. I thought, oh my fucking God, the guy's a G League player. And he's in the starting lineup. I mean, Frazier actually called out Tyson on their broadcast. Now,
well, you know what I saw? The first play of the game, the very first play of the game, Tyson comes up to half-ass double the ball handler, and he leaves the man in the corner wide open who bangs a three down. And he was constantly caught in no man's land, and he wasn't staying with his man. And I don't. What's the point of a double team if you leave somebody wide open? Because everybody in the league now can hit the corner three. That's not a big deal. So the Cavaliers did not deserve to win.
No,
and the Knicks should have blown them out by 24 and not been threatened in the fourth quarter at all. So it wasn't like they were playing godly basketball.
Oh, not at all. They were bad too. They were not good. Brunson, you said, was like 4 of 15 for God knows how long. I mean, it was really a tough watch to watch. Particularly after previous night, I watched the whole Oklahoma-Houston game, and then last night I watched the whole Oklahoma-Indiana game, and those were like totally different brands of basketball compared to the Knicks and the Cavaliers was.
Well, and I watched the Thunder and the Pacers, and the Pacers tried like hell, but they didn't have Halliburton. They didn't have a couple of their star players, and they fought. The Cavaliers didn't fight at all.
Yeah, the Pacers ended up with 3 guys fouled out, and these young little 14-year-old white guys out there trying to defend SGA in the second overtime.
Like I said, I'm watching for entertainment value, and I don't have money riding on these games, and I really don't. When the season's over, the season's over. If you're champions, that's great. If you're not champions, you get beaten up in the playoffs. Oh, that's what that is. You got your money's worth as far as watching the games, paying to see the games, and that's all that I care about.
Yeah.
When I watched the game with the Cavaliers and the Knicks, I wasn't entertained in the least. How many long rebounds did the Knicks just glide right over to? Because no Cavalier player was even lunging for the ball, was even making a run for the ball. They were not putting out. They were not trying. Believe it or not, they were living on the laurels of a failed team last year. And the person who was leading the charge of the brigade was Jared Allen, the biggest choker and disappearing artist of all. We can't blame this on Darius Garland now, can we?
No,
he wasn't out there. So what is wrong with this team? And I am going to say it again, except I'll make it clear this way. And I was talking to some people over, the realcavsfans.com online and chatting with some of the folks over there. You tell me, how in the world is Jared Allen going to get more offensive chances when all is said and done? You have Darius Garland, who they say is coming back in the first week of November. back on the floor, eating those minutes, and Lonzo being the backup. Okay.
Yeah.
And then DeAndre Hunter, he's starter, and he's going to be playing. And then Evan Mobley, who is automatically, as you saw in the first game, he's been given a green light, and rightfully so. We have to develop this guy into an offensive and defensive threat. And this is what this whole crescendo has been toward with Evan Mobley, was we want to give him an opportunity to shoot the three, to get that mid-range fade, and to do things that he's capable of doing, that we know he's capable of doing. He's just got to get more comfortable doing it. So I'm all for that. Now, Jalen Tyson's not going to be starting, and if Max Strus comes back, Max Strus shoots so many times per game. All right? And I'm looking down the road, just not like right now.
Okay, you're talking February, yeah.
But again, I'm always looking ahead, because what's true today isn't true tomorrow. But you have a plan that you try to implement. How in the hell? And then you have Donovan Mitchell, who's a ball-centric player. With all of this ball-centric, then Darius, how is Jared Allen going to get more looks this season? And if the way he reacts is to pine and not go after rebounds, fuck him.
Yeah.
Let him play with his model toys or whatever the fuck the nerd does, and get him into another city where he'll get all the looks he wants. Send him to the Pelicans. They could use somebody like him. He can get all the shots he wants and lose. It's to the point where I don't have to go through this. Even as a fan, the ownership doesn't have to go through this either. Trade Jarrett Allen. Get rid of him. Because in the end, you know what we really need? We don't need some little guy with a big fro who's really shorter than they say he is.
Yeah. Who's
not motivated and can't shoot from outside, 6 feet of the basket.
Basically.
And who is temperamental, shall we say, as to whether he's really going to try or not. And he's proven it on multiple occasions, and in the worst times in the playoffs. You can get something for him. And wouldn't I suggest to the Cleveland Cavaliers, not that I know more than Dan Gilbert, that what the team is lacking is what it's been lacking, and that's a banger. Somebody who can gain respect for this team by playing a physical type of basketball. And I'll give you an example. You've got Albert Şengün.
Oh, he was brilliant the other night.
For the Rockets. Here's a guy, he isn't fast, he doesn't have great hops, but he's allowed to swing his arms like clubs. He's become the de facto star of the Houston Rockets. And the more he gets away with it, the more they allow him. He hooks on plays. It's ridiculous. He hooks as much as Jalen Brunson does. Jalen Brunson couldn't beat anybody in a straight line to the basket, but he hooks every time he goes that way. And they get these calls. You need to have people who interject the idea of aggression on a team. And you know the types from basketball lore. You know the Charles Oakleys for the Knicks, or, he played for the Bulls. You know Ricky Mahorns. I don't have to remind you of people who were just filthy players, but they got the benefit of the doubt because they were playing for a good team. Well, the Cavaliers are a good team. But anything that we do, if we look sideways at somebody, foul. If we had a banger who gained respect around the league, and that's not going to be Evan Mobley, okay?
No.
That's not who he is up here. And we're trying to develop him as more of an offensive player and a shot blocker and a defensive player. That's great. We need a guy who's going to find his way to fucking loose balls. That's what we need. We need a big monster guy who has the work ethic that Tristan Thompson had when he was 26 years old. That's what we need. And we can get that for Jared Allen. He was a fucking all-star. We can get that. So that's the easiest thing I can tell you about the Cleveland Cavaliers after one game. It's not going to continue being that bad, but your eyes have to be wide open now.
Bad. It was bad, very bad.
So, that's what I have to say about the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cleveland Browns.
I don't think anybody had a good game in that game. I mean, Donovan Mitchell ended up with his points, whether it's over or under, I don't know, it was probably 30. He got his points in spurts. Like, he tried for a few minutes, and then he would fade away in the woodwork. It was just a really shit watch,
And Kevin Garnett, that's right. The history of the league is lined with people like this.
Okay, so who are these like mafioso guys? I mean, why are they just focusing the media on the NBA players or coaches and not any of the other like Mr. Bigs? They just want to show the NBA guys.
Well, to me, if it's happening in one sport, it's happening in all. You're not going to tell me that
tennis and golf are corrupt as hell. I mean, how many people pull themselves out of tennis matches like, oh, my leg, my knee,
I mean, Don Vito Corleone doesn't care what sport the revenue is coming from. He doesn't care. And if they're in one sport, they're in all sports.
Yeah, I'm sure tennis, golf, and ice hockey have just as much problem with gambling as the NBA, and you know where I'm going with that. So,
yeah, I'm going to share a screen because this is the kind of headline that makes a cow shake his big cow head, and this is what a headline! There it is. Really?
Oh man, I'm glad I didn't have any like Diet Coke up my down my throat when you were doing that. Wow.
That's not AI, folks. That's Cleveland.com. And if you don't believe me, the article's right up. It was published.
Look at that. Hey, you know what? That's Kevin McFan drawing on a napkin.
On a napkin. That's right. But I mean, what a headline. Just in case you folks have fallen asleep, the Browns are still trying to win.
If they have to say that, then they're obviously not trying to win. Yeah.
Just make it stop. I mean, I just trying to win by making bad decisions. I'm not saying that Jimmy Haslam's not trying to win. I'm just saying that if he was only financially rewarded if he won, he'd be doing a much better job. But he can be an uneducated, slovenly, smelly crotch Southern idiot and still make billions of dollars. That's the deal. He doesn't have to be any better than what he is.
No.
So, trying to win. I mean, Kevin Stefanski is like, you're going to hear, let's see if you can do the sound effect when I'll say it's the gerbil in his cage. Kevin Stefanski is a gerbil running as fast as he can inside that little spin wheel. He's trying to win. He's trying to figure out where he's going to work next. He's going to try to figure out a lot of things. I mean, and here's another great one. Can Quinshon Judkins continue his hot streak against the Patriots' elite run defense?
Well, no, if you put it that way, no, he can't.
Quinshon Judkins is so far statistically, he's been the best rookie running back.
He's the only player on offense that's worth a damn.
But it ain't Saquon Barkley, folks.
Yeah. Let's
be honest. He's doing well without an offensive line. I'd love to see him with an offensive line. He's contributed spirit to the team. Quinshon Judkins has done a great job. He's done a better job than the guy we're going to see this weekend, Travion Henderson, who's averaging 3.6 yards per carry. But it's not that Judkins is really averaging a lot of yards per carry, but he's showing the ability when he actually gets blocking in front of him to turn, 6, 7, 8 yard gains into 22 or 47-yard gains.
On those odd plays where they don't call a holding penalty on our tight ends.
Of course. But that perception is just a perception.
I mean, people, and rightly so, people bang on about Myles Garrett being offside, but how many penalties do we get on our tight ends and wide receivers for holding on running plays? It's just so ridiculous,
Well, I'll tell you another thing. Watching the Browns week in, week out, and every time we have a decent play, all of a sudden the flag appears on the ground.
Correct. Yes.
And, for years and years and years, and how it beats the shit out of you. Well, I'm watching the game last week against the Dolphins, and for the first time in my life, I said, my God, they're cheating the Dolphins.
Correct.
They want the Dolphins to lose.
They absolutely were.
I mean, we're going to let Cleveland win this game in front of a third of a filled stadium because of bad weather. And that's going to be the little bone we throw to them. And you know something? I hated it. I hated it.
We didn't want it. Yeah.
If you're a real Browns fan and a real fan of sports, you want to win fair and square and not win it all.
You fucking want to earn it like John Houseman. Give it the John Houseman voice.
You don't want it given to you. You must earn it. Yeah, I mean, I don't derive any satisfaction of going, it's their turn this time. Well, it's going to be our turn the next 10 times, Correct. You stupid fuck. Yep. I mean, I don't get an enjoyment or pleasure out of some team being cheated. And it was like the story was too good. I mean, McDaniel's losing control of the team and saying things up there about his team and
gibberish,
and then having players coming back at him, and I mean, it was a boiling mess, and it was just a perfect script. It's like, let's fuck them this week and let them know that they're not doing what they're supposed to. Wait, they're not doing what they're supposed to do. I'm Casey Kasem. We're not going to let Mike McDaniels get away with this anymore. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to call 74 penalties on them. Number 74. That would be offensive holding.
Yeah.
I totally hated that because it's like, we're not really able to beat very many people legitimately, but that was not a legitimate game. And I scream when it's against the Browns and it's not legitimate. Why would I be different in another circumstance?
Oh, I totally saw that too last week. So,
by the way, Judkins averages 4.3 yards per carry, and tied for third in rushing first downs, 29.
That's a bigger stat.
11th in rushing yards with 467. It's a tie for fifth in touchdowns with 5 for a team that doesn't score touchdowns. And here's another one: yards after contact, 2.7 yards.
Correct.
So Judkins has been wonderful. Fannin has been wonderful, and I'm so tired of the timeline on X. It's driving me nuts. Just trade Shedeur, just trade him. It's amazing how quickly these so-called fans turn on the organization. Why would you want to trade somebody before you know whether he's good or not? And then they trade him. They say, well, we should never have traded him, and we go through the whole Baker Mayfield shit. And these fans are not fans. You know what they are? They're gamblers who lose week after week. And they're idiots. And they're trying to get attention on their little timelines any way they can. And it just makes me want to vomit.
Well, that's a known fact here, that social media anger against sports people has been ramped up due to the ramping up of gambling, even in England, when gambling's been legal the whole time I've been here for 40 years. But this online stuff that makes it so easy that you can do it at 3 a.m. in your room. The hatred that these people are getting. I mean, poor little Emma Raducanu, the hate that she got from people for losing, tennis matches was just absolutely obscene, It's just not right, man.
And it's funny, I look at the number of viewers when I say something that's popular. Attack gambling and take a look at what's happened. You see,
everybody goes away because
it's like taking heroin away from an addict.
yeah,
I swear to God, those people, something, if you're gambling on this stuff, it's all crooked. Don't you see that who's really making the coin off this? And the amazing thing is that the league makes more coin than anyone. And if any one of these leagues discovers that the ex-players who play in the league were financially rewarding themselves by cheating on the side, oh man, now you're getting all the headlines and, let's just send them over to a foreign country, to a fucking gulag and let them starve to death.
Yeah, the funny thing is, they made a point of showing Adam Silver at certainly the 2 Oklahoma games. I don't know whether he was at MSG when the Cavs played, but they showed his bald-headed face, and then they started talking about the gambling thing last night on the broadcast. And I'm thinking, like, wait a minute here. and the Pacers, they had like 4 guys that fouled out last night. Now, how does that happen? They could have won that game, and Houston could have won that game 2 days ago.
And to analyze the Patriots, it's pretty amazing. That May, their quarterback, has thrown for 1,744 yards this year. He's on pace for almost 4,000 yards this year.
Wow, and nobody knows about it hardly.
He's been completing 75.2% of his passes and averaging 8.6 yards per completion, throwing for almost 250 yards a game. He's thrown 12 touchdowns with only 2 interceptions. The only thing is that he's been sacked 22 times.
Yeah.
That's the only thing in his stat line that makes you think that the Browns could do anything in this game. All right. Here's the other thing. From a rushing perspective, Stevenson is their running back. He only averages 3.6 yards per carry. And Travion Henderson has only carried the ball 43 times this year for a 3.6 yard average.
Yep. He had that one big kickoff return the first week of the season. And even I said, like, oh, well, we drafted the wrong Ohio State guy. Well, turns out we didn't draft the wrong Ohio State guy. So
he's averaging 22 yards per game. So again, what makes this game, in my mind, virtually impossible for the Browns to win has to do with the one thing that people aren't talking about. And that's that Mike Vrabel was on our sidelines, was a consultant to our team, and now he's the coach of the Patriots. He knows everything that we're going to do.
This is going to be grim, man.
You ever heard of the word prepared before? There's a difference between preparing and knowing.
No. It's like, we'll just wait for Stefanski to do his trick play here, and we'll sack him for 12 yards.
Vrabel's history with Tennessee, he's a defensive-minded coach, and if they're getting play from their rookie quarterback like that, their young quarterback, Drake May.
Is he fit? Like, is he healthy? I thought he may have gotten dinged up in one of these games. I don't know.
I don't know. All I can tell you is the guy came from North Carolina, and you wouldn't have expected that he would be.
Yeah, Greg Little came from North Carolina.
Exactly. And, and that's like, that'll be the last thing on Bill Belichick's resume. So it's not exactly the place where college quarterbacks
come from.
To thrive in the NFL. But if they're getting really good production out of that quarterback, that the defense is going to be prepared, and that Vrabel's defense is aggressive and they do get turnovers. And that was the other thing I wanted to share is take a look at their defense.
All right. Can I make a quick prediction here? I'm going to say
sure.
There's going to be one play where Isaiah Bond is like asked to do one of those reverses, and he's going to get stuffed for a 12-yard loss. And you heard it here first.
I'll shout you out when it happens. Okay. I'll do that.
You'll be sitting there. It'll be like 2:30 in the afternoon. You'll go, oh, fucking Bronk said that.
On X, I will say Bronk is in the house. I will. if that happens.
Well, I'm not on X. You'd have to copy and clip, screenshot it and send it to me.
Oh yeah, I'll do
love
that without a problem. But you take a look at the defense for the Patriots and
Yeah.
their linebackers. All right,
Are
Spillane
good.
has 1 sack. All right. Landry the third has 5.5 sacks.
Oh, well, that's because he's got the third on his name. Anybody that has that is great.
The defensive end, Williams, has 3.5 sacks. The safety, Hawkins, has 1.5, but the other linebacker, Chasen, has 4.5 sacks. Between their 2 linebackers there, they got 10 sacks. Wow. So you know what he's up to, what Vrabel's defense is up to. And Dillon Gabriel is not going to see a clean pocket in this game.
Never.
And Vrabel knows, because he's been around the league, that we're going to make the rook look like a rook.
Yeah.
And this is going to be the week that there will be directly 2 turnovers associated with Dillon Gabriel. That is my prediction.
Yeah,
that would incorporate interceptions / strip sacks.
Yeah, strip sack, fumble, Ruski 6,
Yep.
Intercepted backward pass, all that shit.
And you're not going to get calls in their stadium. That's not going to happen. So, everybody knows where I'm coming from with this. Yes, I want the Browns to win. They're not going to win. It's going to be a 27-10 kind of game, and that will be that.
Well, I mean, the only way we win is if we win like we did last week. We get help from the refs, and we also get help from having 4 or 5 turnovers that magically fall in our lap, and that ain't gonna happen this week.
And we'll be right back where we were 2 weeks ago, and
And the other thing is, we never win 2 games in a row. Never, ever.
And if Dillon Gabriel turns the ball over multiple times in this game, I don't want to hear the excuse that I don't want to hear the excuse. Well, you can't play Shador because the other guy's not turning the ball over. It's like be consistent with your arguments at least. But I mean, that's asking too much in 2025. There, believe me, everything is fake this and fake that, fake news. AI, fake pictures, fake. I'm just here to talk about what's real. If I were a Pittsburgh Steeler fan, I would be pissed. You just got done.
What's happening now?
Well, you got off to this great start, right?
Yeah.
And then last week it wasn't so good, right?
Oh, that thing where Aaron Rodgers got tackled by his offensive lineman? He's absolutely right to have a fucking go at him. What an idiot to do that.
Well, they lost. Well, now, here's what Aaron Rodgers, the asshole who wanted the Jeopardy job more than he wanted to be quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm not standing up for the Steelers because I don't like that organization, but the fact is, this is not what you want your quarterback to be saying. Here's his quote. When I'm done playing, I'm pretty sure that this season will be my last with Pittsburgh. I want it to end ceremoniously with the Green Bay Packers.
Wow.
So much for loyalty. I was there for 18 years, Roger said. Regardless of when I hang it up, that's the bulk of my career. I'll retire a Packer and see what happens after that. I've got a lot of love for the organization in my time there.
Wow.
He's going into a game and he's in first place, and this is what he's talking about now. Why? Could he be a little self-immersed?
Oh, I mean, he's the sort of prick that everybody hates, regardless of whatever their views are in the world. I mean, I think everybody can rally around the fact that he's an asshole.
Yeah, I think he missed a few vaccinations. That's what I think.
Wow.
23-7, Rick May and Ron. 31-13, Browns lose.
For me, the Brown season is over. I only care about the Cavs, and And as you know, I put very, very small bets on the games, so for the Cavs games, so I can watch them on the gambling
Well, you're
streaming.
getting something in return
I'm getting
for it.
something in return for it, so yes.
And it's
So
not
that's how
predicated
that's
on the outcome of the game.
exactly, and that's how I watched the Oklahoma games the past 2 nights as well. So, and I'm
Now,
mildly up, like about $8. So woohoo!
so if you want to watch the Browns, obviously, you're going to see the game on Cleveland. It's going to be on Fox, and you could also, if you're throughout the state of Ohio, if you're in Dayton, if you're in Columbus, if you're in Toledo,
Oh yeah,
if
the
you're in
footplay.
Youngstown. But here's the beauty: if you're finding streams out there, if you're a
Yeah.
fisherman and you're looking for streams, it's going to be shown throughout Boston and New England, of course. And so you can get your Boston channels, anything that was up
Probably
in the
Maine
north,
or
in the Northeast, Maine,
Vermont.
and New Hampshire, and those areas. It's all Patriot country. So you should find yourself a stream on that. And it's not, it's the minority of the country who is going to be seeing that Browns game.
Yeah, it's like the Didi Kikawala again, so.
Yeah, and Browns fan 85, Pats 24-9.
Well,
I think we're all on the same
I
page
think
with this.
the amazing thing is that the Browns offense cannot score 3 touchdowns without massive help from the defense. They just can't. They can't put together 3 drives in a game.
Well, there's a large segment of the Browns population of fans that are saying, got to stay with Dylan Gabriel. But they're the same people who, for whatever reason, have a problem with pigmentation. I mean, why wouldn't you want to use the 2 guys you drafted at some point to evaluate the future of the organization?
Well, the bye week's coming up, so I can't get excited about the Browns now. I'm over that. So,
No, I mean, you're going to see Dylan Gabriel, and being a rabid bunch of fans in New England, and with linebackers and safeties coming at him like there's no tomorrow. And
what's
we'll
the weather
see.
going to be like there? Do you know?
I do not know, except
I
it's
don't
going
know
to be raining men hallelujah at Dylan Gabriel.
either.
It's going to be very difficult for him. And I'm not saying that I dislike Gabriel. I'm just saying he's a backup
Well,
quarterback.
it seems like a decent chap.
Yeah,
Let him marry your daughter. Walk your dog.
He'll have a career in the NFL as a backup.
I think he will. I think he'll stick around.
But I don't see him as being the antidote to.
Yeah, he's not lifting up a conference title, let alone a Super Bowl title. He's just not going to be doing that unless he gets in as a backup on like Kenny Pickett did with the Eagles. Yeah, that ain't going to happen.
So at any rate, I'm done. I've spoken my piece.
Done.
And now we get to watch the game and settle down tonight.
Brooklyn Nets.
Yep, at 7:30. You can get that on FanDuel, and we'll see. We'll see what kind of energy the Cavaliers come out with after a little tongue lashing from Kenny Atkinson, and we'll see if there's a little bit more effort. I still don't have an answer as to whether DeAndre Hunter is going to be playing.
That's the big. I'm going to be listening to WTAM.
That's 18 points right there. That we're not going to get from our bench. And
like I said, what was really disappointing was we didn't get any like steals or second chance ball or 50-50 balls like they say here in England. We didn't get any of that the other.
Well, if you don't work for it, you don't get it.
Yeah,
and they weren't really working. We'll see if they work harder. By the way, Brooklyn lost their first game by 19 points to Charlotte. Charlotte their roster doesn't have. They have Cam Johnson. Is that the guy? Yep, Cam Johnson, who is a guy who can score the basketball.
I tell you, who looked really good was the young kid on Philadelphia, the VJ. Whatever his name is, I can't think of his name.
I didn't see that.
Oh, they either won that game against the Celtics or came very close to winning that. But this rookie, the third player picked, had like 40 points or something. It's absolutely amazing.
Wow.
Look up the Celtics and Sixers last night.
It's better than what Cooper Flag did, that's for sure.
This kid looked. Oh, and the other person I want to comment about, and then I'll leave you go, is that Matherin was an absolute menace last night.
You bet.
He looked like Donovan Mitchell. Honest to God.
He's notorious for technical fouls. He's got a bit of a head on him. And if the coach can stay on top of him, he did. He's strong. And you could see why the Pacers weren't lucky last year.
No,
they do have tenacity. They really do.
I mean, if we had Matherin, he's like the missing piece. I mean, that would be the guy I would.
No, what we need is a guy who down low can just beat the hell out of people and get rebounds and just make life miserable for people down low. Not necessarily a guy who's a shot blocker, just a guy who rebounds, who clears people out. That's what you need. You need to get some decent minutes from him.
I don't know where there's a Dennis Rodman there for us to get, but I'd love to have Matherin. I think he would be awesome on the Cavs.
Well, he ain't going anywhere. So everybody, enjoy the game tonight and enjoy the Browns game on the weekend. And I hope everybody has a good weekend. And I will be seeing you at halftime, where we'll start analyzing what happened in the Browns-Patriots game. Until then, hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. Good night.